It truly is the end of an era now. Last night, Prophet, one of the biggest legends in the history of Overwatch esports, announced his retirement. I thought today we'd discuss this important news, as Prophet has been such a significant part of Overwatch esports basically since the very early days of its existence. He's had such a long and successful career, he's been a superstar for years on end, and he's a fan favorite, one of the most polarizing figures in the history of the Overwatch esports community. The type of career Prophet had is practically impossible to replicate. Only a select few can say they've done the same things as this guy, where they've played basically since the beginning all the way up until the present. It's very impressive that he had such a commitment while staying at such a high level for as long as he did. And in a bunch of people's eyes, he is their favorite player of all time, and some people even go a step further, saying that he is the GOAT of the esport. And genuinely, an argument still can be made for the guy. Now, I personally, along with a bunch of other people, have turned away from that convo and have more so looked at Violet amongst a couple of other emerging talents, but still, the fact that he's still in the convo after this long is absolutely insane, and it goes to show just how valuable he is in the eyes of the public and amongst his peers. Prophet is literally one of the best to ever do it, and the fact that he's gone almost feels wrong. He stayed loyal and committed to us for such a long time that sometimes we forget the guy is human and that slowly but surely he's been losing his interest to compete. It's such a sad day. Prophet's literally been a staple of the Overwatch esports scene since 2017. And you have to remember that a lot of fans have been watching him since the very early days of his career back then, during 2017, on GC Busan. So for those OG fans in particular, honestly even for OWL fans as well, it's going to feel strange not having him around. It'll almost feel like something is missing without him here in the Overwatch esports scene, without having any kind of presence whatsoever. His fingerprints are literally all over the legacy of this game and what it's been like in a competitive environment. You just think about the longevity and the impact he's had long-term on a yearly basis, and it feels bizarre knowing that suddenly that's going to be gone and it's never going to come back. There's a lot of star players that have overtaken the mantle that are definitely more skilled than he has been at any point in his career, but still, so many people have watched this guy for a long time, and he's meant a lot to so many of us, so him being gone is going to be a major blow. I don't know what Prophet plans to do next in his life, but I wish him the best of luck, and we're going to miss him a lot. In the meantime, let's pay some respect to this guy and give him the recognition he deserves for a very amazing career, one of the best of all time. The main place I like to look back on and pay my respect to with Prophet is that longevity factor. He didn't always win championships every single year, and he wasn't always the best DPS player in the world, but he's done things that only a select, small handful of players can say they have also done, as he's played through 3 different eras of Overwatch esports, essentially. Think about that for a second. First was Apex, which is like the OG OWL, finds success there, wins with GC Busan, and in that final season when Apex is over, arguably the best player in the world, goes into OWL, immediately finds success there, wins a championship in his first year, goes to a second grand finals in 2020, and then in Overwatch 2, when that comes out, another new era and iteration of the game, he's able to find success on Seoul in that Season 5 at least. That is pretty ridiculous to somehow stay on top all those different years like that. Literally, in all 3 variations of the esports scene, there was at least one moment, if not more, where he was a top player competing at that, like, MVP level, giving his team an opportunity to win a championship. That's something that not many players can say they've also done. And even the guys that have been in that situation where they played as long as him probably haven't found as much success. And that's only one part of the puzzle, right? Who could possibly forget about the long-term success and the accolades and the achievements that he's found throughout his long career? The extensive resume that he's rocking with is crazy, and not many people can say they've done as much as this guy has, especially when considering the length of his career and everything. I mean, aside from winning/competing in the World Cup, as well as winning OWL regular season MVP, and I guess maybe not finishing the job in 2020, getting second in the grand finals, what hasn't he done? He's won in like every iteration of the esport to some degree. Apex, which was the big thing before OWL, one of the most meaningful championships to have. He was able to pull it off with Jisoo Busan, with Gesture and those guys, and he was the literal MVP of the tournament as well. Gets the first place, gets the MVP for having a crazy Tracer and Genji, and then the following year, after having that success, where many people might have their careers peak, he goes out and wins a championship in his first year in the inaugural season with London, which is arguably the most important year in the league's history. Not the most competitive by any stretch of the imagination, but that's when it was peak popularity, when people cared the most. With the most eyes watching him possible, he was able to do all of that in like a 1-year span. That right there makes for an amazing career on its own, but then he goes to a third team. He goes to Seoul Dynasty and finds major success with them as well. He helped bring significant relevance to 3 different franchises, and while he didn't win an OWL Grand Finals with Seoul Dynasty, he still got there once with them and won the Kickoff Clash title, giving them their only real first place in league history. Prophet has helped out 3 franchises and has made them legendary in some capacity thanks to his journey and what he was able to do. Now, in between all that, as well as Season 6, maybe not a lot of success to be found, but again, he was in a lot of different tournaments. He found relevance a lot of the time, be it on Seoul Dynasty or London Spitfire, and that's something you can't knock him for. You're not always going to win, especially when there's so many other amazing teams out there that formed literal dynasties. There's only so much you can do if you're in Prophet's shoes, so the fact that he still was able to stick around and compete with some of these teams and scare them and or beat them is super sick. The haters are going to get on him for not doing that much after the early days of his career, but again, hate on him all you want, he still accomplished more than like 90+% of pro Overwatch players could ever even dream of. And let's not forget the money as well. That's another aspect where this guy was very successful. No pun intended, but Prophet was very profitable. He might have the highest earnings ever when you combine salary as well as all of the tournament prize winnings throughout his career. You think about it going all the way back to GC Busan, and then having an Overwatch League contract for 6 straight years. You think about all the tournaments where the Dynasty and Spitfire were either winning or getting close to winning, plus winning a Grand Finals once, getting second place in another one, all that stuff is going to add up. And I remember hearing that he's gotten some fat contracts throughout the years. Like, we're talking 200, 300K, and that's not even just for his entire career or anything. This is just for a couple of seasons. This dude brought in a ton of money for playing the game and finding success for as long as he has. And he set himself up very nicely for the future on whatever the heck he plans to do next. He's got some good money in his bank account. Prophet's a winner in esports and in life itself. It doesn't get much better than that. And you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't even touched upon the all-time stats yet. For a lot of people, it doesn't matter, but in the history of a league like this, for me, it definitely does. And Prophet happens to be at the top of everything because of his amazing and super long career. He's got the most final blows of all time, the only guy to reach the 7K mark. He has over 15,000 eliminations in his career. I'm pretty sure at this point it's probably closer to 16,000 since Stats Lab stopped getting updated around mid-season madness. And he's second highest in solo kills all time. In esports, it typically doesn't matter as much, but still, in the history of a sports league, especially one that is done in its current iteration, looking back at the stats is fun, and for a lot of people it's very relevant, and again, Prophet happens to be at the top for literally almost everything you can think of. And still, after all of this, we haven't even touched upon him as an actual player, and him as a person, and a lot of the big memories that he's established in the esports history. As a player, I mean, easily one of the clutchest players I've ever seen in Overwatch history. This dude lived for the spotlight. He lived for the moment, a lot of the time executing flawlessly, just pulling kills out of nowhere to will his team to victory. He's gone on so many crazy runs in his career where he just steps up, where you know confidently he's going to do something crazy to get you there. From like 2017 until the end of 2020, that was him. That was Prophet. He was that guy. Easily one of the most legendary clutch players to ever grace the game. So many amazing, fond memories have been established. So many great clips have been taken of this guy. The montage, the highlight reel, it's absolutely insane. For me, I think about his Genji and Jisoo Busan, or how he was able to pick up Hanzo and be one of the best in the world on him during the 2018 playoffs. The lone sniper play, that's easily the greatest call in league history for me, with Uber losing his mind over him and Birdring carrying, or how he got that 6k on Tracer later to win Volskaya and help win the first set of the OWL Grand Finals. There's the money tire to beat alexyOWL in Stage 1, the way he sealed the deal as Pharah against the Shanghai Dragons to get to the 2020 Grand Finals, amongst so many other incredible plays on various heroes. You think about the 360 deflect, or the 180, whatever it was, all of the ridiculous Tracer pop-offs. This dude just thrived when it came to prime time. He was an absolute beast. They called him Money Shot Prophet and the baby-faced assassin for a reason. This man fully lived up to the reputation while consistently working his butt off to be one of the very best. And he's even said so as much, where in certain years he played so hard, he burned himself out like crazy to be at the top and show good results. It meant everything to him. He was humble, he was competitive, and just a great guy, an infectious personality, especially for the people who watched him on stream. Very loud, very entertaining. All around, Prophet just has so many memories edged into the league. Everywhere you look, he is a part of this history. I was never even a massive Prophet fan during his time of playing, but I could always appreciate what he did, and how he always gave it his best effort, and had so many magnificent plays in his career, and I'm sure a lot of you guys feel the same. Just a lot of mutual respect for him and what he accomplished in his career, and how he was able to help progress Overwatch Esports into what it is now. Admittedly, I'm a bit disappointed to see Prophet go, as I would have loved to see him be a part of yet another iteration of Overwatch Esports, not to mention that there's a couple of things that I wish he was able to accomplish in his career, most importantly competing in the World Cup, being a part of South Korea since he is one of the most famous players ever, but beggars can't be choosers. It was a magnificent career, and at the end of the day, I congratulate him, not just for a great career, but for being able to leave this game behind. This inevitable game that we can't seem to escape, at least a bunch of us. I congratulate him for that. Prophet, you had one hell of a career, dude. I wish you nothing but the best of luck for what comes next, and thank you for everything.